Hey guys, I'm currently at the bottom of the garden, which I've referred to before as the secret garden. And we've levelled the ground off, so we're working with a really nice level area, and we've done that because I'm going to be building an insulated garden room in this space. So I'm building this DIY insulated garden room. It's 4 meters by 3 meters, and I'm going to be building it right behind me. And to do that, we need a base. The best way for me, in a cost-efficient way, is to build individual concrete piers. I'm going to be digging a hole in the ground, approximately 600 mil wide and a roughly 500 mil deep. And I'm going to be filling that hole with hardcore, and then on top of the hardcore, I'll be placing concrete blocks, 7 Newton concrete blocks, which will then be mortared together, and eventually all of the blocks through all of the holes, we're going to go with 4 at the back, 4 in the middle, 4 at the front, will all level up to a really solid base. On top of those, I'm going to be putting a wooden structure. So I'll get on with it. My dad and I have been putting these stakes in the ground which mark out the corners of where our foundations are going to be for the insulated garden room, and we've got this brick line along between the stakes, and we're using that to measure our corners are 90, and there's an easy way to measure a 90 corner. It's the 3, 4, 5 method, and simply put, that's measuring 3 foot on one side of your corner, 4 foot on the other, and then that measurement there should be 5 foot. And if that's correct, if that does measure 5 foot, which we have done already, and we know that it does measure 5 foot, then we know that our corner is exactly 90 degrees. It's really important to make sure you have a corner that's 90 degrees, because all of your other measurements come off that corner. So you want, for this building, it's a 4 meter long building by 3 meters. So we have a 90 corner, and we can just go 3 meters, 4 meters, 3 meters, 4 meters from that. And we know it's going to be pretty much exactly square, or, well, it's rectangle. Update on the groundworks for the insulated garden room. So we've been busy this morning digging holes, which are going to be our foundations. As I described earlier, we're going to be putting hardcore into each one of these holes. And if you were to count them, you'd see 4 across the front, 4 in the middle, and 4 at the back. My Uncle Steve over there is just patting down, tamping down the soil at the bottom of these holes that we've dug, just so they have a real firm base before we put in the hardcore. We've measured these holes, so the centre of these holes that we've dug are where the centre of our pegs were, and we've measured the holes, the dimensions of them, so that we can sit a block directly on top with a little bit of hardcore around the outside. can. One more time. So we're now working our way around, putting the blocks on top of the hardcore, and then we're putting a plank across the blocks and a level on top of that plank, and that's what it looks like. So we've got one block there, another one there, plank, level, and we're just making sure that we get that level as close as possible. Once we have, we know that these hardcore trenches are about the right height. So we're going to put mortar underneath these blocks, and then we're going to have one more block on top as well. So the finished product will be 2 blocks all the way around, and they'll all be perfectly level. Okay, end of day one. I say day one, we started really late. There were 3 of us. It was me, my dad and my uncle, and we finished about 2:30, so it's not really a full day, but I feel like we've made decent progress. As you can see, we've got all the holes in. We've got most of the hardcore, the MOT1, in those holes. We've put some blocks into the holes and leveled them up, so we know that we've got roughly a level base to work from. There's still a little bit more work to do, but I feel like we've done a lot in just a small amount of time, and that type of thing happens a lot when you're doing your own DIY projects. It can either take ages, or it can happen really quick and leave you happily surprised. So, on to day 2. Day 2 on the footing build for the insulated garden room, and I've just started bringing round all of the hardcore, the MOT1, and filling them into these holes. Next step is to do as I was before, level it off, tamp it down so it's nice and firm, and then get a block on top, and then make sure that they're level between the two. Once that's done, I'll be putting one more block on top, but I'll be mortaring these blocks in place, and then we'll have a really solid level base for the insulated garden room. that's the end of day 2. It's been 7:30 till around 4 o'clock since I've been working on this today, and that's getting all of the materials off the wagon this morning and getting them down behind me. So as you can see, I've made significant progress on the base for the garden room. So what have we got here then? We've got our blocks which we set on top of the MOT. They are now mortared in place, and then once they were mortared in place and leveled off on every axis, I then put down this membrane, weed control membrane, landscaping membrane, and then cut the areas out where the blocks sit, and then I put this clean limestone on top of the weed membrane. Now that gives me a nice level bed for to then build the subfloor for what will be the insulated garden room. I should be doing that tomorrow, so that's when I'll update the project. And until then,